Oh, it's been fantastic. Usually, a lot of times when folks want to interview you without actually interviewing you as a person, but your company, they'll do a little bit of research. And when they find out, okay, you're popping up on Google, you're popping up on YouTube, you've got videos, you're doing podcasts, you're in front of other folks, they see, okay, these people, this company is out there in society. They are, making a change, they're making a difference. And so then they're more inclined to, okay, let's actually give them a call. It's not so much, okay, this company is, we barely found them. We had to search 5 times for that one company versus, you search for it one time and then you find it in 10, 15 different spots, then okay, they're out there. So the videos, the content, it's extremely helpful because they also see you there as a person, not just, okay, maybe it's just a page that talks about you. No, it's actually a physical video of you, which has been incredible.
And Tone, so authority marketing is what we're talking about here. It's that you're an expert in your field. And people are seeing you not just saying, "Hey, buy my stuff," but they're seeing you as an authority.
SME, so a subject matter expert. If you can present yourself as a subject matter expert in whatever your field is, by the way, all you have to do to be a subject matter expert is present yourself. Like, nobody's going to find out whether you are or not. The truth is, whatever they see is what they believe, right? So in this case, we're all awesome subject matter experts, right? But
It's true.
the truth is it's more important to be known than it is to be good.
McDonald's is a prime example of that, right? Because their food is awful, but they're branded very
They're the
well.
number one in the world.
Yep.
Yeah, it's more important to be known than it is to be. You can have the world's best product, but who cares if nobody knows about it? And you can go home and be like, hey, I sleep really well at night because I do the most honest business and I'm the most straightforward person. But yeah, if you've only got a couple clients, I mean, what good it really are you really accomplishing the grand goal of serving humanity with your talent?
That's being effective, not just being out there, but being effective as well. Imad, you've grown quite a bit over. Tell me about your business curve since you started, and when did you start, and where are you at now?
Yes, yeah, definitely. So we started right around, safe bet, right around the beginning of 2020, right? And here we are in 2023, so about 3 years later. First year, I will say it took 6 months to find that first customer.
Oh, wow.
Right, and that was extremely difficult, right? And then after kind of putting the word out there, the first customer got accustomed to it and then kind of started building out. The second year was really good. We started figuring out, okay, now we need assistance. Now we need, a small team. We've got to build out a small team with the amount of clientele that's coming in. So I think by second year was really a good chance to hone in on our systems and processes and get all of that figured out so that we can take on a wave of new clients if that were to come, which by third year, a wave of clients did come. And when it comes right at you. So that happened, beginning of 2023, there was a huge flow of new clientele that came in. And fortunate enough, we had our systems and processes in place and the team to support it. And so when that came in, we were actually able to grow significantly. So right now, from 3 years in, we're sitting at roughly almost 70 clients that we manage their books for every single month, and all their reports get sent out.
And how much of that growth would you say is networking? All of it?
100%.
Wow.
Oh, really?
100%.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth, and a big key piece was the current clients, actually. So current clients, if you do a good enough job and you're always there in front of them, kind of like networking, like, yeah, you go to networking groups, which is awesome, but you can also network within the customers or clients that you already have. So if you're constantly in front of them as well, then you're always in the top of their mind.
It's so important to harvest your own fields.
Right.
Asking your clients who they know, or if they could give you an introduction, or if they could just give you a list of numbers. When I started in door-to-door sales at a specific company when I was younger, they were from Mexico. They didn't even speak English. And what they would do is you'd knock on the door to people who had window units hanging out of their windows. Mm-hmm. And you'd offer them the luxury of central air. You'd literally say, would you like the luxury of central air? Would you say it in Spanish? And they would give away a set of pots and pans, literal pots and pans. They'd give you a big old box. If you could give them 10 names of people who they knew that didn't have central air. And the pots and pan sets were costing $150, and this is in 1989. So that's a lot of money in 89.
That's a good set of pots and pans.
It's a good set of pots and pans. They bought a truckload of them from Mexico, and they gave them out to anybody who would just give them 10 names and phone numbers. And as long as the numbers rang and it was the real number, they'd give you this pot. And we'd have to call them first. Our boss wouldn't let us do it unless we called them. But if we could verify the numbers were real, we'd give them this set of pots and pans, buy or no buy. But I'll tell you what, that company did $56 million in that year from here, Laredo, all of the valley, not even speaking the language of the country, by giving away pots and pan sets and asking for 10 names of their friends. So if you can just imagine that's incredible. That's a whole nother story. It's a great story, but it's
That's
its own
more
story.
effective than Google reviews, I would say.
It's crazy. Well, I mean, I'm hiring a VA specifically right now. One of my VAs that I've got working for me right now specifically is going to call and ask customers for referrals. That's not their only job, but that's one of the duties of our outbound telemarketer. Because getting cold call lists in today's market, in today's world for telemarketing is super difficult legally and effectively. It's hard to find good phone numbers in today's world. And even if you get a bunch of active numbers, the reception isn't great, meaning not how your phone works, but the reception from the client is not great. People aren't really looking forward to it. Now,
Yeah, that's a good way to
Well,
say
people
it.
hate getting phone calls in general. They're like, why are you calling
Yeah.
me?
Text me first. Who is
Text
this?
me.
What do you want?
And then you say who it is. Then you pick up.
right.
Yeah.
And I mean, the world has changed. Now, I still believe a lot in telemarketing for about 4 different demographics, and there's all these specifics as to why it works and so on, and it's a conversation of its own. I mean, I think it's still a valid, valuable approach to acquire customers. But the best thing that you could possibly do, the first thing that you do is you call your existing clients. You call and you send them out your invitation for an Angie's review if you're a service company, or a Google review if you're a bookkeeping company or a marketing company. A Yelp review invitation. And by asking them, now as soon as you say to a client, hey, would you mind giving me a Yelp review? I'm trying to move up on the Yelp ratings. I haven't talked to you in a couple months, but are you still happy? Yes. Would you mind just, it's just real quick. You don't have to write anything. Just hit 5 stars for me. And that's all I need you to do. If they say yes, say no. But one other question. Could you give me 3 names and 3 phone numbers of people that I could just introduce myself to and just say, hey, I know you and I did work for you, and just let them know that I exist because they don't know that I'm here. And I've gotten a really good response from that.
Really?
Yeah, because it's super honest. And I'll even tell them, because in our company, we have incentive programs and stuff, and we have competitions. And a competition that you should always have is getting leads. Like, there should always be a lead generating competition. If it's 3 accountants this month, let's see who can bring in the most clients or have the most people come in. There's absolutely no downside to that competition. You should always have a competition, some type of incentive to bring in more clients and bring in more leads. It's the most important part of your business is getting business. So there you go.
And that's B2C. And then in Mod, you're on the business to business instead of business to direct consumer side. So what does growth look like for you on that end? Are you calling your clients and asking for referrals, or are you looking to just expand through networking? What does that look like for you?
So currently, it is slightly seasonal. A lot of folks figure out, okay, by the beginning of the year, it's time to probably start getting our things together, or by December. However, we do like to do the follow-ups. Like, as I mentioned before, we always send out monthly reports. So as we do those phone calls, say, okay, do you have any questions? Is everything going good so far? A lot of times they'll say, hey, by the way, I've got so-and-so that's struggling. Can you help them? So very minimally do I actually have to ask. Now, the reason I'm not so much into it right now is because the amount of referrals and business that we are bringing in on a monthly is kind of our comfortability level. It's kind of at our comfortability level right now. So I don't necessarily have to push so hard to kind of bring in excess of leads. So that's why I kind of take it at a more
Sounds like you're
subtle
slowing down your
approach.
growth.
Yeah, my equations are flying in my head right
Yeah.
now. It's like, okay, then
Tone had a face.
yeah, you've already got
I
this
saw,
far,
yeah.
right? So you've gotten this far. You saw how you did this. You see the growth pattern, so you know how many clients you had to get and how much you had to do as a support team to support them, right? If you had a bundle of clients that are in the wings waiting, you can either replace the clients that you have with better value clients or increase the amount of hiring or have a hiring plan. Let's not say tomorrow, but for next year, and you're planning for next year. Okay, next year, let's talk about a growth plan as opposed to this. Everybody talks about organic growth, right? And that's really what I call lazy growth, right? Because it's happening on its own, and it's great, and it's really, really great, like in your case where you're kicking butt and taking names and you've increased so much. And I guess it also has to do with your personal, professional, and financial goals. Where do you really want to be? We have a friend who owns a big insurance company who has absolutely no interest in growing any more than it grows on its own because he
Right.
has so many other interests, and girls soccer and travel and all these other things, right? Whereas his business is really set up to be a monster, a mega monster. Every insurance policy I get from him, he saves me money. Every person I send to them, he saves them money. Every time people call him, he's the best referral to give in the world. He's super easy, really responsive. But he's not interested in him growing anymore. I don't know how many zeros he has in the bank to feel that comfortable, but whatever they are, he's satisfied with it.
So
right?
what are your growth plans?
That's the thing.
So our growth plans, and just to kind of lay it out, so currently we hire one new person every 3 months. That's just to sustain the current growth that we have right now.
Okay.
So another thing that we also have to factor in, and this is kind of one of our top company cultures, is quality. So yeah, can we grow a lot faster? I'm sure we can, but will it even put a slight risk in hindering the quality of our work? If it is, then I'll have to kind of just pull the reins back a little bit. So I always have to keep quality in the back of my mind. Now, I will say it's not like we're the perfect business. We have it all figured out. We're always improving as we go. But a key piece that you just mentioned there is how to prepare and plan for next year. So in part of what we're doing right now is we're actually strengthening our team right now to sustain another big wave when it comes in from December through May. So although, yeah, we may be taking between 5 to 7 new clients a month right now, if we kind of can build and strengthen the current team that we have now and the structure, more so the systems and structure, then we'd be able to take on 10 to 15 new clients a month when that comes in.
Do you have a business coach?
I have a couple, yes.
Okay. Have you ever had a chat with Heather about it?
Oh, all the time.
Okay, yeah,
All
because
the time.
that, having that extra set of eyes that says, hey, have you thought about this?
Yeah.
That's
It's
been
helped.
huge for me and Tone. We've had lots of conversations where it's like, I hadn't thought of that. But being around those types of people that can give you a little bit of clarity, to use, you should trademark that word, by the way, clarity. But
Clarity.
I
That's-
definitely invented it.
yeah, but that's super, because there may be things in your growth strategy that you hadn't thought of, that having somebody take a look at that, like for Heather, for example.
Well, and I
that-
think Tone touched on it slightly there, but the definition of success is a massively important factor here, because it sounds like Ahmad's definition of success is having high quality while being able to sustain growth. So my thought when I'm hearing him say this is they're not focused on growth as much right now as they are on shoring up the foundation of their company to be able to handle massive growth in the
That's a good
future.
way to say it. See, there's
And
clarity
that's
right
so important, because I feel like a lot of business owners focus on sales and growth and lead generation to the detriment of their operations, to where they get to a point where, yeah, they've got all the sales in the world, but then that quality starts to dip, and then they have to go focus on the quality. And in the meantime, they're getting bad reviews, or they're not living up to a
100%.
standard. So if you're able to, as you grow, because you're year 3, you're focusing on the foundation, so that in year 10, I mean, you're going to be unstoppable.
Self-sustaining. Right.
Well, I agree. And then also just something I'd add to that is that if quality is the focus, then that's a quality control person or persons.
right.
But that addresses that whole thing. So it's not something that the whole business has to focus around quality. You put in people that control the quality, and then that puts a check mark on that. You can move on with all the rest of the stuff. A lot of times It's like I learned this from someone else. It says never sacrifice. What did he say? Never sacrifice great for perfection. You might have been there. Howie gave a speech one time talking about this, and he talked about his website and how he was going to reset it, that they were going to relaunch it in January of whatever year, 2020. And then it was not just ready, so they moved it back to April. And then something happened, and then they moved it back a little bit more. And then here we are the next year, and a good friend of his who is really an affluent businessman, really knows what he's talking about, says, hey, remember because I guess he'd gotten his opinion about the website back in December of this year, that first year. And he says, whatever happened to the website? He goes, well, we just, we had some tweaks to do to it. He goes, man, the website you showed me is 10 times better than the website you have right now. And to me, I would have known there was a single thing wrong with it.
Yeah, right.
And if you'd have just put it out a year and a half ago, you'd be done with it, and it would have been great. He goes, don't sacrifice greatness for perfection.
Yeah, and to build on the quality point is like, for me, of course, I've been growing pretty steady, right? Well, I've got a whole layer of quality that I'm now implementing a specific position to keep an eye on quality and communication between the client and the VA, because to Tone's point, it's like you keep moving, and then, or maybe it was your point, but it's like, take care of that quality. It needs to be there, but it can be a position that you roll in.
Every company has quality control, quality assurance. Every place that you go has that in place.
Yeah.
But what happens is the problem with business owners or the people that are partners, the people at the very top, we feel like the only people that can hold the quality standard is us.
Oh yeah, been there for sure.
And that's literally it's the biggest stopping point in business when you have a successful business.
So, Imad, about your business, what do you enjoy the most about doing your business?
One thing I couldn't tell you, but a lot of things. So the two main things is I enjoy thoroughly working with my team. It's always a blast. Two, I enjoy working with the clientele and just really educating and showing them, an extra piece of knowledge that maybe they didn't know before. So to me, that comes with great reward when, I show them something, we discuss it, and it really kind of changes the route of their business or maybe some key decisions. To that also makes me feel like, okay, we've done a good job here. We've actually been able to help someone, and now they not only see the value, but now they see the value and they're out there, putting our name out. That alone shows how much, they appreciate us. And in return, that makes us feel good. And then not only myself, sorry to cut you off there. And I always, share those rewards, or if you want to call it like feelings, with the rest of our team as well. If I have an assistant that's working with me on a specific client and they say, so-and-so did a fantastic job, or we're really satisfied, I go and let her know, hey, by the way, you've done an incredible job. So-and-so says, your attention to detail, your time management on this specific task was excellent. They really wanted to give you their appreciation. And so it makes them feel good as well. Like, at the end of the day, it's a job or so, and they get paid for it, but it's always good to feel like you're part of something bigger.
You matter.
That you matter.
Mention her name
exactly.
now. Mention that person's name. Who is that you want to compliment?
Yeah. Oh, no. So her name is Anne. So
there you go. Good job,
she's
Anne.
done an incredible job so far, and she's relatively new. I will
put her on my account.
Yeah.
Sounds like she's really good.
Yeah. Well, I didn't ever say the last name.
Can he do that?
Yeah.
So do you have like a specific example, without using names and obviously the exact situation, but like kind of an example of what your team brings to the surface, to where a business owner like myself would be like, oh my gosh, I'm glad I'm using your service, because
I'll tell you when he gives me my report in about a week and a half.
Say again?
I'll tell you what happens because I've been using a certain accounting situation and I'm not thrilled with. And I've hired Imad a few months back, and we're almost to where I'm going to get a report to find out how bad mine was compared to his.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll let you know what kind of aha moments we have. I'm sure there's going to be some coming.
Talk about clarity in business. But do you have an example?
Yeah. So clarify the question just so I can make sure I'm
So as a business owner, I've hired your services, and you like educating me, right, in something to make me go, oh my gosh, I'm glad I was in a bad situation before. Now I've got a little bit more clarity in what I'm doing because of what you guys are doing. That's a kind of example. Like, is it profit and loss? Is it where things are all messed up? Multiple companies?
Perfect. So it goes a little with how we have things structured. So, for example, let's say we'll take your business, for example. We've got myself plus one assistant. Now, we have that one assistant really assigned to your account. So it's never 3 or 4 different accountants that are working on your account. So the longer you stay with us, the more that assistant can have an overview of your business and give you actual business analytics. So 2, 3, 4 months, maybe you've been with us 2 years now, we can start doing this month compared to last year, same month, and then show you, okay, this is how you've progressed, and then start show you actual analytics on your business. But that all comes with, having that specific assistant plus that analyst on your account specifically.
Well, and I know I have clients that work with a mod, and half the time, I mean, I think you're still working on this one specific book, but I'll ask questions like, "Oh, which department generated the most revenue out of all of them this quarter?" And they're like, "Oh, we'll see once a mod's done, getting everything organized." So that kind of hyper clarity on, yeah, we've generated this much revenue, but where did it come from? Which area of your business is it that is really driving that revenue, and how does that affect your activity? I mean, that's massively valuable.
Yeah.
I'm going to hurt my accountant's feelings now. I can tell you, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you, when I, in my brain, in my vision, when I started my company after coming from running another business that we had before this, I said, I'm going to get a forensic accountant. I'm going to save every penny everywhere I can. And I'm going to incentivize my accountant to find money and save money. That was my goal. So that was my goal. That's as far as that went, right? Because I got the person. It never happened, and now I've been so dedicated to that, but I just never dedicated myself to it. Like, it's something I wanted in my head. So that's where I have Emad work, and that's really what I'm hoping to do. Have them break it down to the most ridiculous numbers, and come in and find out little things where we can improve and save. That's the goal, I think, of. That's what I dream of as a business owner. I've never seen it.
Well, that's the thing. It happens so often because numbers, I mean, when you look at it, it shouldn't be complicated, but then it starts to get complicated, and everybody thinks they need to have an accounting degree to be able to use their business numbers, or they should be smarter to be able to read these things that they're getting. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. If I get, like, I was reading a report the other day and I'm looking at it and it was for a totally different thing, but I was like, this report's probably very useful. I have no idea what it's saying. I don't know what this data means. I don't know how to interpret it correctly. Therefore, this report is useless to me. Yeah. I need to learn how to read this report before it does anything for what I'm trying to do.
And Heather, you brought up a great point there. So there's a happy median between how we set up, and I don't want to get too deep into the accounting terms, but your chart of accounts is a great foundation for how things are set up. You want to set up, as a bookkeeper or an accountant, you want to set up the chart of accounts easy enough to understand by the client, but efficient enough for the accountant to be able to work off of at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. So typically how we break things out is kind of tone like how you were saying. You've got different income streams, right? You want to put an account name to each income stream so that you know exactly where that income stream is coming from and how much it's funding. So like you said, if you get a report and you completely don't understand it, what good is the report, right? So it's always good to make sure, okay, having at least a simple session or a video recording and sending it out to the client to let them know this is exactly what you're looking for, this is how to understand it, and these are the different reports that you would look for or use to find exactly what you're looking for.